Now to the Trump administration's latest moves. We're going to go over to the White House and check in with Aisha Hasni for the very latest there. Hello, Aisha.
Shannon, good morning to you. We're getting a little bit of an update on the timeline of this operation. The president is warning that these precision strikes will continue uninterrupted throughout the rest of this week or as long as necessary. And he's also issuing a new warning to Iran to not escalate these things. He wrote on True Social overnight, Iran just stated that they are going to hit very hard today, harder than they have ever hit before. They better not do that, however, because if they do, we will hit them with a force that has never been seen before. Now, take a look at these photos, Shannon. These are from Mar-a-Lago, showing the president monitoring the situation. An interesting move to note here is the president also released a video in which he offered immunity to members of the Islamic National Guard. It's a move that some experts believe could be used to avoid a power vacuum situation like the one we saw in the Iraq War. Trump also encouraged the Iranian people to rise up.
When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want.
Iran continues to claim self-defense. At an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council, the UN ambassador Mike Waltz had this tense exchange with Iran's ambassador.
I have one word only. I advise to the representative of the United States to be polite. It will be better for yourself and the country.
Frankly, I'm not going to dignify this with another response, especially as this representative sits here in this body representing a regime that has killed tens of thousands of its own people and imprisoned many more simply for wanting freedom from your tyranny. Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, senior Trump administration officials say the U.S. had indications that Iran had intended to strike preemptively and that the president decided not to let U.S. forces absorb those attacks from missiles. Back here at home, most Republicans do back the operation, Shannon, but the majority of Democrats say this war, these strikes are illegal, and they are demanding a vote on a war powers resolution as early as this week.
Donald Trump is taking the United States into war on his own with no authorization from Congress. He is willing to sacrifice American lives for what?
He's putting American lives at risk to undo his diplomatic mistake.
There should be no further military action without congressional approval. I'm going to do everything I can to protect the lives of American service members, and that includes making sure that we don't go into more wars.
We do expect the president to return to the White House from Mar-a-Lago later today. Shannon.
All right, Aisha Hasni at the White House. Thank you very much. Joining us now for a look at where we've been, where we're going, is Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. General, great to have you with us.
Good to be with you.
Okay, so let's start here. These are the reported strikes that we know about this joint operation with the U.S. and Israel across Iran. Now, these are our assets in the region. We know Iran is returning fire in a lot of these places, or attempting to.
Yeah, first of all, you got to back off a second and realize how big Iran is. You know, Iran is bigger than any state except Alaska. It's 2.5 times the size of Texas. So for this operation to unfold the way it is, with the strikes occurring and with the assets we're using, is really quite amazing to me. People have to kind of realize this is big.
Size.
This is really hard to do. And we've done an exceptional job, and President Trump's done a great job. So when you look at these strikes out here with the fleets out here, with the 2 carrier strike groups, one here and one in the Mediterranean, and combined with the Israelis, it's really quite impressive to me, the amount of attacks that have been going on and the areas we have to protect as well.
So is there any scenario in which you see U.S. troops could end up in Iran, boots on the ground?
One I'd like to see, it's actually right here. And that's Karg Island. And Karg Island is 80% of the oil that comes out of Iran comes through Karg Island. 20% of that comes through the Straits of Hormuz. That's another place you could put troops out there. And 15% of that oil goes to China. So if you really want to disrupt the flow of oil, maybe you want to put boots on the ground. It goes back to what Fehrenbach said in Korea. If you really want to contain something, you have to be very dominant on the ground to do so. That is very select place to do it, but you protect the choke point of the Straits of Hormuz and you take over Kharg Island. That wouldn't be putting troops in Iran. That's almost a bridge too far. It's too hard to do that. And it's being done quite well by air assets and naval assets that we see right now. So right now, except for those 2 points, I would say no, not at all.
Okay, let's look at the range of what Iran's got. This is the current range that we know of. We know they've been trying to expand this, but that's still pretty significant throughout that region.
Well, it really is, but we're kind of in the process of dismantling that whole system. There was a lot of fear before about their missile fleet, and understandably so, what they've got out there. But every day that goes by, we're slowly but surely diminishing that threat to the allies that we have in the region and also far out there. And I think Pete Hegseth has done a great job, Secretary of War, and Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, are doing a great job making sure that that threat doesn't happen. We're not out of the woods yet. We're only in day 2 of this, and there's going to be time to do it. But every day that circle gets smaller and smaller.
Okay, and you mentioned this. I want to talk about the naval assets we've got in the region. Right. You talk about the importance of the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump has talked about completely decimating their Navy. That's what he wants to do because of all of the interest in the region. Here's what we have. That's quite a buildup.
Yeah, it's really quite amazing. When you look at the size of the forces we've got out there, it's massive. He really doesn't, he meaning the Iranians, and Larijani, who's the current leader, who, by the way, I give him a beach house in Namibia right now, get him out of the country. Right now, his assets are slowly being diminished. They really don't have a Navy. They're trying to control right here the whole Persian Gulf area and to really control the Straits of Hormuz. So when you asked me earlier where I'd do it, I'd control both the Straits and Kharg Island. Once you control those two, you really diminish economically his ability to do something. And I don't think the threat, every day that goes by, the threat will get lesser and lesser and lesser. And I've got to give it to Dan Kane. And they've got a great plan, and the Secretary of War's got a great plan with Pete Hegseth. They're doing a great job. The president's taking tremendous courage to do what he's done. So when you look at these assets out there, we've used them quite well.
All right. Well, we are in just day 2, as you said, General. Thank you for stopping in to give us your perspective.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.